Dustin with us? You with us, Dustin?
He was. Hear me, sir? Or Mr. Dawson, excuse me.
Good Lord, it's Madison County. Dustin, probably good. I mean, I'm Clay. That's Dustin. Well, good. He's on there. We're going to take the silences. He's all for it. Motion passes. We do have a quorum. We do need to adopt an agenda. The only one that I'd like to add to the agenda is number 7. And let's say that's Rose Hill. Is it Rose Hill or Rose Park? Rose Park
UMC
Church. And that'll be number 7. Anybody else have anything we need to add?
Mr. Chairman, under information correspondence, I'd like to add balloon test update, please.
Yeah, very good. All right.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Public comment. Public comment.
Hello. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jana Jackson with the Madison Free Clinic, and this is Ed Sierra. He's the chairman of our relocation committee. We have been searching the county over to find a bigger place for us to rent or purchase to continue to serve the citizens of the community. Currently, we have one exam room, so we're only able to see one patient at a time. So we'd like to get a bigger building so we can see more patients at a time. We have found a place up next to Piedmont Deli. It used to be the health and wellness office. And we would like to look at renting there. And there's going to be some construction needed in that space in order to make that happen. If you have any questions to that, Ed can answer those. But we're coming to you today to ask if you would waive the fees for the building permits that we will need to do that construction. We like to be as responsible as we can with our donor dollars and like to put as much as we can towards our patients. And so it would be a great help if you were able to waive those fees. I think we need 3 building permits in order for the work that we need to have done. And that's what we're coming to ask. And if you have any questions, Ed can tell you about the space.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Jana?
No.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I guess Mr. Sierra.
Anything to add, Mr. Sierra?
So how extensive remodel are you all going to have to do, you think?
Well, we've had an electrician and a contractor look at the facility. It is laid out currently as a doctor's facility, so there are 2 exam rooms and 2 areas for the professional staff. We're trying to build a wall to make an area that will become a lab off by itself, so people can't wander back there. We need to put in a hand washing sink, do some minor work of that kind. The electrical looks to be okay. It's sized for what we need to do. The lighting's okay. The only open issue at this point is we may want to change the air conditioning system to provide ducting into the exam room. There's also some carpeting. Apparently, there's vinyl flooring that was laid on top of carpeting. So the goal would be to rip that down to the concrete floor and put in a hard surface floor. There's not much point in a carpet in a doctor's office.
So what are y'all's hours at the free clinic now? By the way, just for transparency, I currently keep the books for them, but I go by there once a month, grab the bills, pay the bit, log the bills and all that stuff. I'm not on their board or anything, but
So
what are y'all's hours now?
Currently, we have hours Monday through Friday, 9 until 12. We see patients Thursday evening and Fridays from 9 until 2. A bigger location would allow for us to see more patients on those days and also potentially add another provider to see patients on other days.
How much are you asking for in the budget process? Are y'all on?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No.
Oh, good. All right. Good. Good. Oh, that
So-
helps. Oh.
So for, I guess, Mr. Jewett, you may not know it. The public probably knows. So for a number of years, the free clinic was down the hill back here when the health department was there. And as I recall, I think the board was probably charging them $100 a month rent or something like that. But since they was
I
it
don't think we're.
was it
I
or
don't
was it
think we
anything?
were
You remember?
charging. No,
I don't
Might not have
think
been
so,
anything,
no.
but
No.
whatever.
There you go.
And since they moved up to the space behind Montague Miller, they have not asked the board for anything at all. So I certainly would consider waiving the fees for building permit, since
Mr. Chairman, it may not be appropriate to vote on this tonight. This is the public comment period, but it's
Yeah.
certainly a way to move it forward.
right,
Yes, sir.
just
If I may,
just consider
Why
it.
not?
if I may, to Mr. Gregg's point, Jenna, I believe your committee is going to take a formal vote this week.
Yes.
So maybe when your committee takes a formal vote, just email me the committee or your request, and then we can take it to the board for a future agenda item should they wish to act on it. Would that be appropriate?
Yeah,
Mr.
that
Chairman?
sounds perfect.
Yeah.
And do we require a permit to replace carpet?
I can't speak on carpet.
Ligging. No, that's what I figured. I hope not. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yes.
Send us something formal.
We had a meeting with Jamie earlier this month, and he said 3 permits at just under $80 a piece
Okay.
is what we'll need.
Okay. Yeah, send us something formal, and then we can take action potentially in at the second meeting in February.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it.
It's windy wherever he is.
Beat this dog.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Supervisor Dawson, can you hear me? We want to check your line now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I'm good. I'm going to hang up on the phone part.
All right.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
I tell you, we've got this technology.
Yes, sir, I can hear.
It's really going good. All right. Other public comment. All right. Public comments closed. We're going to do it again later. Consent agenda. We have minutes from 1/10/2023, 1/24/2023, and then February 2nd, 2023. We've got supplemental appropriations, 3 sets of them, Jonathan.
That is correct.
We've got
And should you
Madison
have any
EMS.
questions, Ms.
Yeah.
Warren's available to answer those.
You got Madison EMS and facilities for $19,170. You've got insurance claims for multiple different departments, 1/4, 105, and then you've got a drug court and OAR pass-through grant for $20K. Anybody have questions on any of these items? Any comments, Ms. Warren? What y'all want to do?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Here we have a report from VDOT.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and thank you for allowing me to present our quarterly presentation.
And your name?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, your name?
I'm sorry, I'm
For
Ed
the-
San Nicholas. I'm the
Thank
acting
you.
residency administrator.
Yes, sir.
I am standing in for Carrie Shepard, who's actually our resident engineer while she's on leave. So under our preliminary engineering, we have 4 projects to report. First one is the Route 29 R-Cut Shelby Road. This project is currently in the right-of-way acquisition phase. We are working on finalizing the plans to combine both the existing and the proposed stormwater basins on Mr. Gates' property. There are no issues to report at this time. Next milestone for this project is the pre-advertisement conference, and the ad date is still August 2023. The next 3 projects are bridge projects. The first one is Route 707 Nethers Road. project was awarded last month. The contract was executed this month. The notice to proceed is pending at this time. There will be a temporary access road provided around this project site, so there's not going to be any impact in terms of how to get around. The second bridge project is Route 707 Pine Hill Road. This project is in final design review and approval before proceeding to the right-of-way phase. Add date is January 2024. The last bridge project, Route 749, is Moon Road. This project just started, just got its authorization for preliminary engineering, and the next milestone is scoping. The add date is May 2025. Under construction activities, under road project, it was really actually a sidewalk project. Last week, we completed sidewalk repairs on Church Street, as well as along 29 Business Main Street, specifically at the corner of Washington Street and Main Street. And then just in front of I guess it's called the Matt Local American Eatery. So that sidewalk was repaired and was all completed last week. At this time, we have no bridge projects to report. As far as rural rustic road projects, Desert Road Phase 1, all the pipes have been replaced. The current plan is to replace the pipe for Phase 2, and then in the spring, and then tie both of those phases together and pave that this summer. So one of the things I was asked to do, which is not on the slide, I wanted to provide some updates to the board with regards to the Smart Scale project. For Route 230 and Route 687 Fairgrounds Road intersection improvement. At this point in time, there was a recommendation for approval. The recommendation was provided last month. At this point, there are no further actions by the board. The next steps include in April-May timeframe, the draft 6-year plan will be developed, and then the public hearing will be held through this timeframe. In about mid-June, the Commonwealth Transportation Board will approve the 6-year plan, and then in July, the funding should be available. So right now, we're kind of in that phase where we're just kind of waiting to get through the development of the 6-year plan.
So does the Smart Scale project go in the 6-year plan?
Yes, sir.
Does it?
6-year improvement plan, yes, sir. And that's what they're drafting at this point in time.
I don't think so.
So I think we're talking about two different things. So normally we hear the 6-year secondary road plan.
Oh, yeah,
I think what
yeah.
Mr. San Nicholas is referring to is a different plan.
The 6-year
Oh.
improvement plan, not
But-
the secondary 6-year plan. So they're two different.
Well, it's not
Yeah,
confusing
okay.
at all.
That's-
All right.
So the improvement plan, does that come before this board or the county boards, or that's a state
No,
thing?
what you did right now, as far as you submitted your application for Smart Scale,
Uh-huh.
it was approved last month. Not approved, I'm sorry, recommended for approval. And so right now, we're moving towards the April-May timeframe where the draft 6-year improvement plan is completed, and it goes out for public hearing.
And we'll
And
do-
then in June is when the final approval by the CTB.
Where's the public?
yeah, the public hearing's here for the Smart Scale roundabout
No,
plan.
I don't think so. I
Richmond.
think they hold these at the district. I'll have to confirm that. I'll get back
Okay.
with Jonathan.
We know we have some concerned citizens about the roundabout that have some comments. There's one property owner specifically, so we'd like to convey
Right.
that to him.
So we're not at that point yet.
Yeah.
So what was submitted with the application was just a concept plan.
Mhm.
So once we get past June, it's approved. We hope it will be approved and gets on the schedule. Then it's going to go through the project development phase, and part of that is the actual public hearing, design public hearing, and that's where the public input would be. So we're not at that stage yet.
All right. So if June the CTB approves the project based on the recommendation so far, when potentially could we see shovels being going into the ground?
Oh gosh, we're talking about several years.
Yeah,
It's got to go through. I mean, because once it's approved, funding's available. It's got to go through the project development phase. So preliminary, got to go through design, right-of-way acquisition. So there's a number of other things that have to happen to include the public hearing
So we're probably 2 years out from this at a minimal.
At least.
There you go. All right.
And Mr. Chairman, I've
Please.
been in contact with that one specific
Yeah.
resident and promised them I will
Sure.
keep them informed the whole process. I will say, Mr. Sandlickness, if this venue is an opportunity, the board would welcome this as one of your landing places for a public hearing for this project or any future project. But I'll wait to hear from you once those dates have been set.
Just to be clear, so you're talking about the design public hearing. You're not talking about the one that's held by the CCD.
No, with CTV, it's got to
Okay.
be in Richmond, correct?
I'll have to get back with the board. I've not been a part of that process, so I can't really tell you.
No. I was talking about the public hearing, the local one
Right,
after
the
the
one that once we
CTV.
get to
Yes, sir.
the design public. hearing.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. And then since he brings it up, the secondary 6-year road improvement plan, we added, what did we add last year, John?
We added the 0.4 miles of Turner Drive was the
Yeah.
addition. I think the rest of them has been the last few years has been in that plan. So
Do you have a list of other roads that there's another one that
Parish Road,
Yeah.
they've looked at that. It is not wide enough to it. I know there's been a lot of requests over the years for I guess chloride treatment or whatever is the proper term where they control dust. There's a cemetery as you turn off Novum onto Parish Road right there that there's a lot of, I won't say a lot of traffic, but you know what I mean, folks coming and going, paying respects. But I know, Ed, I believe you and your team looked at Parish Road and it was determined the current width would not allow. I don't even think it would qualify for rural rustic.
Well, that's what they were looking at before.
Okay.
So I can't remember what the length of the road is. I think it might be a mile and a half, 2 miles. I'm not sure.
Sounds about right.
But when we had our folks go out there, apparently what happens is it narrows at the beginning, widens in the middle, and then narrows again. And so, the problem that what we look for essentially is minimum 18 feet of width for pavement. And then we have to obviously look at drainage because that has an impact on the road after it's done. So minimum pavement width is 16, but ideally we look for 18. And so those are some of the things that when they go out to figure out if it's candid or not, that's what they look at.
Okay. I always look forward to the fun of the 6-year plan. You have comments down here, Jim?
I just have one for Mr. San Nicholas. Wanted to thank VDOT for giving us the extra second in the switching time at the signal up here at Fishback Road. It has improved the situation. I'm hoping that after the next traffic study is done, we get another second or two as well. But anyway, I did want to mention thank you for addressing that.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Anything else, Mr. St. Nicholas?
No, that concludes my presentation.
All right. Any other questions, comments? Anybody? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Constitutional officers, county departments, committees, and organizations. Ms. Warren? Yeah, that'd be fun. It's a way to be a leader, Jerry.
Finance has been in the middle of the implementation or the go live process of Munis. We have been making great strides in the month of January. Went well for our first month. We are also doing some new tasks in finance related to general billing of the transfer station and some other general billing items. So Munis has been very positive in that respect that we can do that in the system. And then just heavily into the budget cycle right now and working with the various departments and outside agencies and gathering all the information, putting together the master overall worksheet for the budget, and also talking to the treasurer's office and Brian as well on the revenue side and getting some preliminaries and also working with the departments. I'll be working with them on the upcoming grants that are expected and planned for fiscal year 24, and lots of new processes going on in finance.
Questions from Mr. Warren?
It's not boring, huh?
Nothing boring. Very busy.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jerry?
So our winter sports are wrapping up in the next several weeks. Spring sports registration is still open and will be starting up in March. Some of our highlights for our 2023 events. We are a quarter of the way full for summer camp registrations. February 25th, Princess Dance Party is sold out with 75 kids. April 22nd, the Hoover Ridge Wool and Wine Festival with the Sheepdog Trials coming back for both days. May 20th, we have a tour to Madison. June 3rd, Music in the Park with Crawford and Power. June 9th, Movies in the Park with the Top Gun. July 8th and 9th, the Whoville Lacrosse Tournament with over 100 teams participating. July 22nd, Music in the Park with the Skip Castro Band. July 30th, Hoover Ridge Picnic in the Park celebration, birthday celebration for the park's 21st birthday. August 11th, new Movies in the Park with League of Super Pets. August 12th, Music in the Park with the Road Ducks. August 22nd, Halloween Fest and Movies in the Park with the Haunted Mansion movie. August 29th, Haunted Woods, the Hoover Ridge. And December 10th, the S'mores of Santa and the Holiday Light Show. These are just the highlights. We have many other events also, including fun runs, art walks, and other events for children. And all of the complete list on hooverridge.com.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. Everybody's got the same facial expression out there. Like, yeah, those are good ideas. Yeah, I'm glad they sold out. That's great. And y'all doing all kind of good stuff. Any questions for Jerry? Jerry, thank you. Take it back to Ligon, would you?
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes. First update is on the comprehensive plan. The committee. We just had our fourth meeting last week. We've been meeting since November. I know both two board members have regularly come, Mr. Yao and Mr. Jackson. So appreciate their attendance. We've also had just some people show up from the general public, which is good. So every meeting we probably had at least 15 people, maybe a few more. We did get through the last meeting creating a vision statement, a revised vision statement, which is a lot like the old vision statement, but just a little more to it. I won't read it all to you, but I will give you a copy of that, at least email it to you. It really was a group effort, and I think you get 15, 60 people on the same page for a paragraph to accomplish something. Now we're moving on to kind of the meat and potatoes of the plan and going over the actual plan elements. We're going to do things like transportation and mobility. We're looking at housing, economy and employment, recreation and community facilities, community design, land use, and environment. So we worked on housing the other night. Just interesting facts. One of the things about the comp plan is going and looking at the background information, kind of where we are. I just a few interesting facts. 61% of the household, 64%, almost 65% of the households in Madison, which is interesting, are two people or one person. The other 35% are three or more. You will also notice, and Madison's like a lot of communities. If you look at the last 40 years, we're getting a little older every 10 years. I've noticed this happen in my life too. So we're a little older. The average household age is 55 years. It's about 57% of the county. So what are these? I won't go over all these statistics, but I just thought that was interesting. But one also interesting fact about Madison compared to other rural areas, our friends over in Page County, we're actually a community, even though it's modest, it is growing still. There was Weldon Cooper at UVA just released some new batch of demographic population estimates. We're about 250 people. Most of that was due to in-migration. So you take your births and deaths, minus it. A lot of rural counties are losing more people than are being born. But we also had a nice little bump in inter-migration folks from other places coming here, at least according to UVA, which they're a pretty good group and really have a lot of access to a lot of data that I think makes that really relevant. So just an interesting fact that we are seeing a little bit of growth, but very modest. I don't think we have to go out and plan any new schools or anything, but just something to keep in the back of your mind. My vision for the rest of this, we'll probably work to these other parts of the plan. I would say probably around July, June, we should have an open hearing. I'm thinking maybe something at the fire hall where we can all invite people to look at different ideas that this committee has come up with and the folks who just have showed up to be part of the committee, which is great. And let the general public come and maybe learn a little bit about sort of, some of the facts and data. Two, give us their opinion and ideas on some of the things that this group might come up with as far as ideas for, housing and growth areas and all those type of things. On the day job, and again, planning, the comprehensive planning to me is so much fun because, there's no right or wrong. You sit in here, you talk, you get everyone else's opinions, and they're actually, not that the regular meetings aren't fun, but they're a little different style meetings. So it has been a lot of fun. And I think Jennifer Little from the Plain District has done a great job, really preparing for these meetings, getting good information out there. So I think bringing the Plan Commission in was a really, really good idea. And I think we're getting a really good product from them in the end. On the day job, next few months are going to be busy. We had a pretty busy fall. The solar folks seem like they want to apply. I've been pretty frank about where I think the board stands. Maybe just my opinion. If they choose to apply, that's fine. We'll give them their day in court. We also have heard that Mr. Helmy is looking at another site north of the county. He is probably going to apply. 190 acres. Remember the Ford Shop Road? He has 190 acres between James City and Kirtley. It comes out on both. I think it's a pretty good site for that, but of course, devil's in the details, and I think we could probably. It's a big change. So, but I do think from access and those kind of big picture things, it's a better site. So just be prepared for that. I think that'll probably be next month. Looking at probably a May, I guess, maybe joint hearing on that. But a lot to work out between now and then. Otherwise, sorry I talked so long. That's all I have. Any questions?
Questions for Ligon?
Well, Alan turned it on, so.
Good work. All right, grab the microphone while you're over there working on the AC. No. It seems incredible. We're in the middle of February with the AC on.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you.
The duties of a sheriff.
Good afternoon, board. A couple quick things. Thank you. Our SOO is up and running in the Wetzel Middle School. Thank you for that. And to continue with that, thanks to our finance lady, we have 2 more grants that have become available. We're applying for 2 SO grants to redo the one here at Waverly and the new one at Wetzel School. So
SRO.
SRO.
Thank you.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Say that again, Eric.
We have 2 grants.
Yeah.
We have 2 grants becoming available right now. Grant just started working. Thanks to Jennifer in finance. We're the ones continuing at Wetzel, Waverly, plus a new one for Wetzel.
Ah.
2 new grants.
Good.
So the one that the county helped me out with, hopefully that will be taken care of from your other.
Great.
We've got these in school. We'll get them out hopefully by June, July, and we're on the road running by September. So not whole one out, should be back forward. This is the negative part. We have this conversation every year. Mental health. We're still doing the transport all over the state. All the time it's continuing to go up because of that reason. So 2 people, Southwest Virginia, Williamsburg, Washington State, Virginia, Gay Lines. 2 people, 8-hour trip, all the time continuing to go up. So hopefully, if you meet with the Rapid Management Police Service Board, we'll mention that to them.
Last week. Yeah. We'll reach out to them again.
It's in the general assembly now. They try to make some changes where they will provide their own transportation. That's the general assembly. Last couple of weeks, everybody says they're busy. We were really busy there for about 3 days. Church fire, that individual that started the fire is presently being held staying hanging out at the Central Fuel Region. We were on TikTok last weekend. The gentleman that decided to steal all the trucks in the 5 counties, and somehow he got a bond, he got out, stole a bunch of other trucks in this area. So the chase started in Waynesboro on 81. Went through the filling station from TikTok. Some smoking bandit music along with it. He was apprehended over in Harrisburg. So he's presently staying. Here's my point. These people are getting arrested all over this area. If you're traveling now, all these other regional jails, the people bracket 2 people, another overtime issue. That's why you'll see Thursday, one of overtime increase. Thank you to the board. Any questions you may have? Please go ahead.
Good work. Questions? You're working the best and the brightest. Oh. All right, Brian.
All right. Last month had a total of 134 home phone 911 calls, 290 wireless 911 calls, administrative calls taken 1966, and then 1,084 made. Total calls in and out of the center 3,474. This is a 78% decrease from last year's same time frame. Doesn't mean a whole lot as peaks and valleys. You may hit next month maybe 30% over. Calls for the month were 1,074. This was 90% of what we had last year, same time period. Radio Project Civil Work continues. We actually had the walkthroughs of Hoover Ridge, Beautiful Run, and Blakey today, with the exception of 1 or 2 punch list items. Those sites are completed on the civil side. We are still starting the zoning process at Church Hill. Have planning commission meetings lined up from now until May 3rd on that. Question?
Yeah, the congratulations on getting all those sites taken care of. Are there, and I should have looked, are there antennas or amplifiers or whatever it is hanging on the tower at Hoover Ridge now?
Yes. The only thing that's going to be there that's not there yet is the microwave. And that will be at 195 foot. It's a 6-foot dish.
Okay.
Very similar to what you, I don't know if you've been up to Blakey. Blakey's got 2 9-foot dishes on their site. Ours is the same type of dish as 6-footers.
When will you hang the last one at Hoover?
It's all going to depend on solidifying this 4th site in Madison and solidifying the 5th site in Green. Once we get those microwave paths established, then we can order the microwave and put that up, because that's going to be dependent on where we point it once we put it on the tower. So that's why the 4th site here and the 5th site in Green are so important to get those done. So we only have to do that work one time.
We know where you're at with the site in Etland.
Mm-hmm.
When do you expect to go live if that site goes the way it's
If that site goes the way it can, if best case scenario, the cutover date right now is August of 2024. And we expect to have everything completed by the end of this year or the first part of 2024, but we cannot test until leaves are on the trees, which pushes us back into May, early June, and then we have to do final acceptance and punch list items, which pushes us into August. But for all intents and purposes, we could be operational by first of the year if everything goes the way we want it to, and everything happens like we think it may.
You'll get up to what percentage of coverage?
95.
There you go.
As opposed to roughly 65 now.
Other questions for Brian? Brian, thank you.
Yes, sir. Well, one other thing I will say, we are fully staffed. As of February 6th, we sent 3 trainees to the academy last week. All 3 passed. Anticipate having those 3 folks released by the middle of April at the latest. And once we do that, our 4th trainee will go to the academy in June, looking at July, and we should be trained up and fully staffed, fully operational, barring any more loss.
Thank you.
Not much to report. Thanks to Mooney and the folks over at Jerry. He's gone. His team, they came over and moved us down to the 410 building, which was nice of them. Power outage knocked out one switch in a very high-end backup power supply when it came back on Friday. So that's a couple $1,000s worth of stuff we got to get replaced there. Other than that, we're just getting into our new digs down there and trying to unpack. did go out and get a network monitor system this weekend. Put it on. It's not very. It's free. So, but we got to start watching this network because we didn't find out about those switches till Monday, and our friends at A&S didn't tell us nothing. So
Things like that aren't covered by some kind of insurance policy.
Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, we'll be following with ACOR.
Thank you. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
all right.
Tilly's going to be handling that.
All right.
And it's not here yet, but we are so close with that fiber. The invoice has been sent to Mr. Weekly from REC to start running the fiber up and down Main Street now. So
That is not that elusive Verizon pole, though. We're still working on the one for the Commonwealth Attorney's Office. This will be for 414 and 410, and eventually to Hoover Ridge.
we didn't plan on Clarissa being last, but
Well, it's not her; it's just Verizon.
exactly.
But just to put the fiber project in totality, as far as an update.
All right.
But anyway,
Well, good.
any questions?
How's Alan doing working with
I
you?
was going to say.
Alan's doing great. He's still that strange little guy,
Yeah.
but he's pretty sharp. He picks up things quick, and he actually physically picks up things. So I like that. It keeps me from picking up things. I do appreciate it. I appreciate the help. Appreciate getting the position, and I think it's working out great.
Good. Thank you.
Turn on.
Sir?
Good afternoon. So January was busy, 134 calls, 12 minutes was our average response time. Fully staffed. I've been working with Mr. Weekly and Tilly on our department structure, job descriptions, trying to realign to facilitate better communication and operations. I'm also working on updating all of our standard operating guidelines as well. Have an apparatus update. It's been interesting. So the Mercedes Medic 10 has been in Fredericksburg for a while due to a wiring issue. Medic 20 had a turbo that thankfully was covered by Ford warranty that blew up. So they're still being worked on, but hopefully we'll get those back soon. An update on the ambulance replacement project. Assistant Chief Ham and EMT Galvin, who's our committee chair, have been working with several vendors, working on design specs, quotes, etc. We don't have anything solid yet, but the ballpark range is between $375,000 and $430,000 for the replacement truck. And the build time is 30 to 36 months, and that's due to chassis availability from Ford, and they stopped doing 2023 chassis. Working on Rescue Squad Assistance Fund Grant, 50/50 for Cortico Wellness Solutions. And I appreciate the team's help with getting numbers for that. I should have that submitted within hopefully 2 to 3 weeks. And if awarded, we'll receive $6,000 from the $12,000 cost. I also have Gavin's report, but happy to answer any EMS.
Before you go to Gavin's, looking at replacing an ambulance at 30 months, which vehicle would we be replacing?
It'd be Medic 10 and Medic 20. Those are our two oldest.
What are they? I apologize.
Medic 10, I'd have to get you the numbers. It was our first one, 2017.
Okay.
And Medic 20 should be a 2019.
Right. Both like typical ambulance looking type of.
The Medic 10 is the one everybody loves, the van Mercedes.
Oh, all right, yeah, it's the Euro
Euro
ambulance.
style.
Yes, so that's all right. So
Yeah.
you got that one, and then there's the other one that's the 19 is a more traditional type
Correct.
deal.
Yes, sir.
All right, there you go. Okay. Any other questions for Gavin on EMS? What you got on? The other one.
For Gavin, he has a shelter upgrade grant update. So the application for the shelter generator grant was submitted on February 14th. If approved, the lead time is 28 weeks from the time of order to delivery and 1 week to totally operational. This generator would power the entire high school, as it is less expensive to do than to try and power individual areas and run wiring to those areas separately. Also, the Stop the Bleed program. So all of the cabinets have been delivered to the schools, and the Stop the Bleed kits are in place. Training has taken place at the primary school, Wetzel Middle, and Waverly Yao, and our last training is scheduled for the high school on March 1st. And we are looking to fund the same kits for our county government building as part of our FY24 budget and training all county staff as part of the program. Those will complement the AEDs as well. We'll be able to have both.
All right. Questions on emergency management? I'll just ask this one. I don't know who it's supposed to go to. There's no grants or anything for these AED packs. There's no public money out there that would subsidize the purchase of additional ones.
Rescue Squad Assistance Fund grant is a possibility. We've had really good luck with the Culpeper Wellness Foundation. That's what funded the 17 AEDs for the deputies. Firehouse subs is an option. Still researching.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Other questions? All right. And that's it. Moving on. We have no old business. Or is is Clarissa or any of the other county staff online? All right. Hopefully Dustin's still with us. Old business. We have none. New business. Opioid settlement update and resolution. Mr. Gregg.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. What you have before you that we're looking to have passed tonight is, or this afternoon, is the most recent resolution pertaining to yet another settlement of the opioid suits. Let me explain a little bit about the opioid suits. And there was a webinar that's a great cure for insomnia, but I think it's important, nevertheless, that some of our people be familiar with it. One of the big takeaways is the money we get from this settlement have to be used actually for opioid abatement, for lack of a better term, and projects that are directly related to that. That can be drug courts, that can be just the purchase of Narcan, any of those things. But in any event, the lawsuit itself had literally a phone book's worth of defendants who were named, and as you can see, it is settling sort of party by party. The resolution covers Teva, Allergan, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and these are basically on the pharmacy side. These were national settlements. These have been negotiated. Sanford Chrysler, who are the attorneys we're working with on this, feel very comfortable that this is about as good as it's going to get. The funds, as I think everybody is now aware, in addition to direct funding coming to the county, which still has to be spent in compliance with the rules I just referenced. There is the opportunity for additional funds if we reach partnerships with some of our neighbors to try to enhance what we are doing in terms of opioid abatement. Passing the resolution is simply enabling them to start sending us money. They will work with Ms. Warren's office to transfer the funds. Have they been in touch yet? Okay. So hopefully it'll be comparable to the system we have with the original set of settlements with the, I believe it was the Sackler family.
All right. Questions, Mr. Gregg? Jonathan, do you have comments?
I think we have about $12,000 at least in our funds right now received as direct payments. As Sean illustrated, there's two pay sources. There's direct payment, which was a lawsuit that we'll get over, I think, 18 years. And we will put those monies into the budget as revenue, but tie it to an expenditure, whether it's drug court or what have you. That's still yet to be determined in this process. The other is the opioid abatement authority that Sean was referring to. So I'm not sure if we can pull that off as the county or if we need to look for a partner such as Jim LaGraff at the CSB. That's still to be determined.
And in that regard, the regional health department might be another resource because, all of the other counties that are in our health district may be a potential framework for another regional partnership.
You're going to reach out to either Jim LaGraff or...
I spoke with Dr. Gravatt about this on Thursday.
All right. Do you have some type of plan?
Not yet. It's just a matter of trying to figure out, where all of this is going to shake out.
Questions, Mr. Gregg or Mr. Weekly? We have resolution 2023-2 in front of us, a resolution of Madison County Board of Supervisors approving of the county's participation in the proposed settlement of opioid-related claims against Teva, Allergen, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and other related corporate entities, and direct the county attorney and/or the county outside counsel to execute the document necessary to effectuate the county's participation in the settlements. What y'all want to do?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve resolution 2023-2.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right.
Just for the record, I think I heard Supervisor Dawson say aye, but just so we catch it for the record, Mr. Dawson.
Yes, sir. I said aye.
Thank you. All right. VRA consent agreement public hearing request. Mr. Weekly.
Yes, I had a recent conversation with the interim county administrator, Ms. Garden of Greene County. They have sent over the VRA consent agreement, asking for it to be placed on a future agenda of the Board of Supervisors for approval. We'll have to look through to see if this needs a public hearing. If so, I would recommend the board consider March 14th, since you already have a public hearing scheduled for yet another resolution for Greene County's withdrawal from RSA. Mr. Gregg, is there anything you'd like to add, sir?
Other than I'm conferring with Mr. Kalos, who is Orange County's counsel on this, to make sure we're still in lockstep with what Orange County is doing.
Well,
so
throwing a wrench in this. Go ahead.
So let me ask, while we're going through this, would it maybe be appropriate to ask we can wait on the public hearing, but if we wait till the 28th, if it's needed, we won't make the March 14th. We would just have a later public hearing date we would ask for you. So would you like to wait on the 28th? We bring this back as old business?
It's just to advertise it for a public hearing, and if we don't have to, we're overachievers.
All right. So the idea would be March 14th?
Yeah. Everybody okay with that?
Mr. Chairman, with one caveat on that, just to save some advertising money, if I confirm that we do not need to advertise for the public hearing, I would like to be able to direct Mr. Weekly that we do not need a public hearing.
Seems like an opportunity to say so moved. We all want
So
to do.
moved.
So moved.
All right. Is there a second?
Yeah.
All right. Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Good luck, Ms. Turner. Any other discussion? I got discussion on this. I'm not against holding these public hearings. I'm going to vote no on any more public hearings until Greene County drops the litigation against Madison County.
And Mr. Chairman, in that regard, I've spoken with Mr. Haley, or communicated with Mr. Haley's office. I think what we might wind up doing is just doing a dismissal of our lawsuit against Greene County in exchange for which they do a dismissal of us. The good news is the RSA withdrawal is moving pretty quickly. So I don't think it would be a tremendous amount of delay. I think the variance would be 6 weeks from whatever we have to do and whenever it's finally resolved. Now I understand RSA has a meeting on Thursday. I believe that's
Yes.
correct. It may be appropriate to raise that issue at the RSA meeting.
With the green reps.
Correct.
And the other thing, you got one wrench. I have another one to throw into it. I when I first brought this up, I thought this was going to be from VRA, but it's not. It's from Greene. When are we going to see a letter from VRA saying we got everything we need? I would love to see that.
That's a good question, and that letter would be directed to RSA. It would not be directed directly to Madison County.
Correct. So, so I got my wrench too. So,
and it would be appropriate to raise that issue at the RSA meeting.
And I would be happy on behalf of Madison County. I don't know the new executive director. I used to know Ms. Hamlet, but it appears they have a new executive director of VRA. I'd be happy, if it doesn't compromise anything legal, to ask them what the status is as far as VRA sending notice and to whom they're giving notice, if that does not complicate legal.
No, I think that's appropriate.
Or would you reach out to Tim Clemens and ask him?
Well,
It
I just
doesn't matter,
suggest the executive director, a Mr. Sean Crumlish, just
Okay.
because they are the signator, they are the executive director that would have to sign off.
Since it does affect, our approval of this document. Yeah. Okay. I got you.
I think you should reach out to the new executive there and see what kind of information you can get.
Okay.
All right, everybody's good on the. Oh, there's a motion on the floor.
Sorry.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right. All right.
I was not opposed, by the way. I think it just showed up late.
I know we're keeping track of you, Dustin.
All right.
You think? I mean, to go a step farther, when could we start? When could we put the documents out to dismiss our counterclaim against Green, so we can get this ball rolling?
Wednesday or Thursday of next week.
All right. So you could have an update for us at the second meeting of February on that.
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah. No, it's a weird month. I agree. They should dismiss their lawsuit against us. This will be what? Yeah. This got to be like 7th, 8th, or 9th public hearing we've done on this. Everybody keeps telling me it's the last one. I don't believe any of you people.
You had me lying to Gracie. I promised her the last time that we were done.
Yeah, crazy tonight. They need to go down that path. All right, Mr. Weekly. Anybody else got anything on VRA or RSA? Number 6, we're going to go Grays Mountain Lodge permit application for an RC picnic. Mr. Weekly, please.
Yes, sir. In conjunction with your permit, I guess you could say ordinance or requirements, there's 2 levels. If it's under, I believe, like 300 or 500 people, staff can administratively approve. We would still pass this around amongst the first response team to make sure there are no issues. This is a large scale, so while it does require my signature only comes after board action. Grays Mountain Lodge is hosting the REC Members Connection Picnic, and I see Mr. Henry's here tonight, who may be at the picnic. They estimate about 2,000 in attendance. The event is being held on March I think it's 4th?
May 4th.
Yes, May 4th. Thank you. I have no objections. They have all the plan, kind of the staging, the liability certificate that's required. So I recommend approval should the board choose so.
What do y'all think?
Yeah, Grays Mountain Lodge has been doing this sort of stuff for a long time. So if anybody knows how to accommodate 2,000 people, they do. So I move that we approve the festival or event permit for the REC Members Connection Picnic on May 4th, 2023.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
All right. All right, good. All right. I don't have any documentation on this. Rose Park United Methodist Church, we know they had a traumatic arson. Nobody's asked for it, but I think we should go ahead and waive all the permits, inspections, and then any of the disposal of the damage at the transfer station for them. And it's not based on them being a religious organization. It's not. They had a traumatic event that's out of their control, and they are part of our community like everybody else. And this is one that I just think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, arson is somewhat of an extenuating circumstance, so it's odd. So I'm certainly don't object to doing that.
Y'all good with it? Mm-hmm. I think we should do a motion for it. I don't think it sets a precedent on the basis that this is just exceedingly irregular. Thank God. And that's what it is. I do think we need to do a motion.
So, Mr. Chairman, you were talking about you're suggesting building permits.
Building permits, inspections, and the trash.
The tipping fees, yes, sir.
Tipping fees, yes, sir. And I assume you've got some kind of contact.
So what we would do based upon this approval, I'll reach out to get a contact from Rose Park. I'll be in touch with Ligon and Jamie Wilkes from building, and then I'll contact Updike to make sure once we establish the hauler, we'll have to get that. So we'll notify Updike. So when that hauler comes in with that manifest for that location, it's taken care of.
All right, what do you all want to do? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Board of Supervisors approve dispensing with any building inspection or tipping fees related to the reconstruction of the Rose Park United Methodist Church.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Thank you. Balloon test, Mr. Weekly.
Did you want me to cover? Well, we'll go there. That's what you called on.
What?
Balloon.
Oh, excuse me. I apologize.
No, that's
Information
fine.
and correspondence due the March 14th public hearing on another.
So, and some of that we just talked about, but I think it was at your last meeting, the board voted to set the public hearing for March 14th. This is, I'm being told, the final resolution for the green withdrawal from RSA. So you'll have your public hearing. I believe the resolution's already prepared, probably 4 times over. So that's just an information so you're tracking for your calendar. On to balloon test, sir. So just to let known, it wasn't a rain date or inclement weather date. That's why we moved the balloon test. Originally, I think it was scheduled for the 6th or 7th of February. And I have the ad proof here. This is the balloon test for the Churchill Road proposed tower site. It was being advertised in the February 16th and 23rd editions of the Madison County Eagle or Madison Eagle for the balloon test date of March 14th. Per our ordinance, they're required to fly that for 4 consecutive hours. So that's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on March 14th with alternate dates due to inclement weather for the 15th. And if it's still inclement weather, it would be the 16th. We're going to keep that same time. We hope weather's good on the 14th for the original test date. As far as a timeline, I see Ligon is no longer in the room. What we're tracking, because that balloon test, you have to have 14 days notice in advance before you do the balloon test. That's why that week is chosen. As well, we got to give them time to generate their report. So we'll have this as an April Planning Commission workshop item. I understand it's on the list, kind of an introductory for the night, and we've been let known some community members will be coming out, and that's fine. That's their right, and they'll be informed. There'll be a public hearing in April, and then if that timeline holds, it would be for the joint meeting May 3rd for the joint meeting for the public hearing with Planning Commission and Board of Supervisors. So that's what we're tracking now. Mr. Gordon, Mr. Webb, myself, and Motorola held a call, I think it was Monday, and to iron all that out to make sure we're on the same page at the timeline. So that's what we're tracking. If the board is fine with that, we will keep that timeline.
Really good.
So we have workshop on April and March and April for this, right?
March, I'll double check with Ligon on that. We won't make.
Might not be ready.
Yeah, I don't believe that report. Let me bring up my calendar. Give me 1 second. I don't think we're going to make that March workshop. Yeah, March workshop is on March 15th. And let's say we had to go to that alternate day due to inclement weather. We won't have that. Even if we were able to balloon test on the 13th, it's not. I think they said it takes at least 4 to 5 days to get the report. So we will blow past that March 15th date. Plus, we wouldn't have it ready for the packet, which would be produced the Friday before. So we pushed it to the April workshop. I know it's time, but that's good. It allows us to generate the report. We get it out to everyone to see.
But apparently there's concerned community members that are going to come to the workshop tomorrow and voice their opinions on it. Or at least maybe obtain some new information.
Obtain some new information. I think it's good. I'm hearing folks for or against. So, and again, it doesn't matter their position. They can come and speak. Primarily, though, I think it's good. Brian's going to, already got pretty much the summary developed for tomorrow. but it's to clear the air on what this project's doing. Yes, it could give cell service. That's not its primary purpose. It's for the radio, so our public safety has the tools they need to communicate, God forbid, when our citizens need it. It just so happens we'll probably, hopefully, land a cell service customer, which we heard from some citizen residents when they were without 5, 6, 7 days. There were a couple of those events in Etland, and when you have nothing, unless you're standing on one leg, and some people get T-Mobile. But overall, you have nothing out there in Etland. So I think once that's explained, it may calm some of the nerves. But again, we're going to get the information out there. It's just that timing allows us to have everything thoroughly when meeting with the public and the planning commission and the board of supervisors.
The only one that I've heard about somebody commented saying that there's no guarantee a cell service will be on the pole, and that's correct. There is no guarantee. It's like life. But our ordinance does state that we have to have, is it 4 or 6 additional spots?
I believe it's 4, and it may be height based that change. There is I believe a tier structure. I will look that
So
up.
there will, regardless of whether a vendor comes or not, there is the potential to have a cell phone repeater or antenna or whatever, microwave, whatever the heck it is, on that tower that could provide cell phone service to it.
That is correct, sir.
Good.
Mr. Chairman, this site, a big plus for us, also the one in green, where those are 2 areas that we have very little service on.
Sure.
This is a big plus for us.
Absolutely. Plus for everybody. It really is. All right. Other comments on the balloon test or radios or RSA or whatever else? No discussion. I think we're back to public comment. Public comment. Thank y'all for coming. We do have a closed session. Dustin, I'll call you directly. Mr. Week, please.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, I move that the board convene in a closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Sections 2.2-3711A1 for personnel, 2.2-3711A7 for consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation, and 2.2-3711A29 for discussion of the award of a public contract.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Dustin will